Today, we're unpacking a political firestorm that pushed a modern democracy right to the brink. We're talking about the moment South Korea's president declared martial law and the massive investigation that, well, might have been the trigger for the whole thing. So, picture this. It's a Tuesday night. Out of nowhere, the entire country is just thrown into chaos, turning what was a totally normal evening into this historic showdown between a president and his own parliament. And it all happened so fast. I mean, you blink and you miss it. The president goes on TV late at night and says he's suspending the Constitution. Then you have troops barricading the National Assembly, lawmakers literally scaling walls to get inside, and then holding this incredible defiant vote to overturn the whole thing. By the time the sun came up, it was all over. The coup had failed. So, you have to ask, what on earth could justify a move that extreme? Well, the president had a very specific and, let's just say, a very controversial answer for that. President Yoon basically claimed his actions were to save the nation from what he called pro-North state enemies inside the government. He accused the opposition, who controlled the parliament, of trying to paralyze his administration. So in his telling, this wasn't an attack on democracy, it was actually his way of defending it. And the martial law he declared, it was sweeping. I mean, it wasn't just about shutting down parliament, it was designed to silence pretty much all dissent, control the media, and even force striking doctors back to work under military orders. We're talking a total suspension of civil liberties. The pushback, though, was instant and it was fierce. You had lawmakers from all parties, and get this, including the president's own party, saying, "No way." They physically smashed through the barricades to get into that assembly hall because they knew the Constitution gave them the power. All they needed was a majority vote to override him, and they got it. Okay, so that failed coup was the big explosion, right? But the fuse that led to it had been burning for months. And right at the center of it all were these really explosive allegations against the First Lady, Keonhee, that were being investigated by a special independent prosecutor. Now, this special prosecutor, or Tteukgeum as they call it, is a really big deal. You can think of it like an independent counsel that the legislature sets up for super sensitive political cases. The whole point is to make sure a president's own people can't interfere in an investigation into them. It's a really crucial check on power, and one of the most talked about allegations centered on this necklace right here. It's a Van Cleef & Arpels piece, worth about $43,000 US. The problem? The First Lady was spotted wearing it, but it was never declared on the family's official list of assets. So when the prosecutors asked her about it, her story was simple. "Oh, that old thing? It's a fake. A replica I bought in Hong Kong way back in 2010 for my mom." Seemed like a plausible enough explanation until, the prosecutors decided to check the dates. And this is where her story just completely fell apart. The special prosecutor's team actually went to the company, Van Cleef & Arpels, and they confirmed that the design for that necklace didn't even exist in 2010. It came out 5 years later. So for the prosecutors, this wasn't just a simple fib. It looked a lot like a cover-up. And the necklace? Well, it was just the tip of the iceberg. The special prosecutor was also digging into accusations of stock manipulation, of trading political favors for good poll numbers, and even bribery allegations that involved a shaman. The investigation was just massive. So with all this pressure building on his wife, the now impeached President Yoon found himself in his own dramatic fight with prosecutors. It created this absolutely unprecedented standoff with the rule of law. When the special prosecutor tried to serve an arrest warrant to bring Yoon in for questioning, his lawyers came out swinging. They didn't just argue the legality of it. No, they called it a kidnapping attempt, a national disgrace, a clear act of political revenge. But the special prosecutor's office was having none of it. They flatly rejected all of it. Their response was blunt. Look, this was a lawful warrant, period. His claims of abuse are just not true. It's like the two sides were living in completely different realities. And this whole thing got physical. During a second try to serve that warrant, reports came out that the former president physically struggled with about 10 prison guards to keep from being taken. It had gone from a legal fight to an actual physical brawl. So this left prosecutors at a huge crossroads. Since Yoon was refusing to cooperate, They had a tough choice. Do they try for a third arrest, which could be even more forceful? Or do they just indict him directly and say, you know what, we've got enough evidence, we'll see you in court? When you put it all together, the failed coup, these sprawling investigations, you get a political and social fallout that is just unlike anything South Korea has seen in a very, very long time. And to really understand the pressure cooker environment, just look at this poll. It was taken before the martial law declaration. Nearly 60% of the public already wanted him to either resign or be impeached. His political foundation was already crumbling. This whole situation created what analysts call a classic prisoner's dilemma for the former presidential couple. What do? Do they protect each other? Does one of them take the fall to try and save the other? Or do they eventually turn on each other to save themselves? It's a huge strategic gamble that could decide both of their fates. And then the investigation hit a massive turning point. On August 7, 2025, a court officially approved an arrest warrant for the former First Lady Kim Keonhee. This was a historic moment. It meant she was going to be facing trial from behind bars. All of these events, a failed coup, a president fighting arrest, a first lady heading to trial, it's a massive stress test for any democracy. And it leaves us with this really fundamental question. Is seeing your former leaders in the dock a sign that your system is breaking down, or is it actually proof that in the end, nobody is above the law? Thanks for watching.